one second. Children.
That growth, evolution, and influence in the rush ecosystem. Organisms in ecosystems are grouped into categories called as trophic levels. These levels are divided into producers, consumers, and economists. What is meant by producers? Primary producers, typically plant or algae, that use sunlight to produce food through an photosynthesis or chemosynthesis. These producers are the foundation of food chain as they convert energy from the sun into the form that other organisms can consume. Following the primary producers are primary consumers, which are herbivores that feed directly on plants. These producers obtain their energy by consuming plant material. Primary consumers are eaten by the secondary consumers, which are carnivores or omnivores that feeds on herbivores. This energy continues to move up the chain as these secondary consumers are preyed upon the tertiary consumers, which are typically top predators in the ecosystem. Next is the decomposer. As she said, when the producer produces the food, then it is consumed by the consumer. Then it is consumed by the consumers.
Show it. Yeah.
As the producer produces the food and then later it is consumed by the consumers, then after this the organisms die and they get decomposed. An organism, often the bacteria, fungus or invertebrate that feeds on and breaks down dead plant or animal matter, making organic nutrients available in the food in the ecosystem. Which means that when an organism dies, the bacteria, fungus comes over there and decomposes it and make an organic nutrients in the ecosystem. Next, it is a general question that why food chain is important. Anyone? Why is food chain important? Food chains are important because they show the intricate relationship in ecosystems. They can reveal how each organism depends on someone else. For survival of food, chains are also display what happens when a problem occurs and a producer or a consumer is lost. Entire community collapse, which means that if one organism is not there in the food chain, the whole ecosystem will be disturbed. It shows the interrelationship between each organism. How is food chain determined? A food chain depicts the relationship between the species based on what they consume for energy in trophic levels, and they are most commonly quantified in length and number of links between the trophic consumer and based on the chain. Which means that a food chain shows the relationship between the organism in the ecosystem.
How is the food chain affected? Food chain is affected when one of the elements of the food chain involving the food chain is removed. That can result in the extinction or immense decrease of survival of the species. Many food chains contain keystone species, that is very important species that has large impact on the surrounding environmental, and it can directly affect the food chain. Food chains, what are the factors affecting the food chain? Food chain is influenced by biodiversity, complexity, species interaction, and environmental change. Biodiversity plays a crucial role in maintaining the stability of food chains. A diverse ecosystem with a wide variety of species is generally more stable than a biodiversity with fewer species. How can we overcome the affecting food chain? We can overcome the affecting food chain by sustainable practices and conservation efforts to maintain the balance and health of ecosystem. That is, we need to use the agriculture proper. We should reduce the use of pesticides, weedicides, and chemicals. We should proper waste management should be taken care in the food chain and in the management of the ecosystem. Conclusion: A food chain shows the relations between each species and also reveals that each species is dependent on each other for survival. So it's our responsibility to maintain and protect all the species in the environment. Acknowledgement. I would like to thank our principal and teachers who have guided us to present this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we are from 9th standard and we are from HSR. Today our topic is aquatic plants. So why aquatic plants are important for us and answers?
No Q&As. Only auditions.
So aquatic plants are important for aquatic ecosystem because they produce oxygen to photosynthesis, which is important for aquatic life. These plants filter and absorb pollutants, providing water quality and clarity. They provide habitat, shelter, and food for fish, invertebrates, and other wildlife supporting biodiversity. Additionally, aquatic plants stabilize the sediments, preventing erosion and reducing flooding.
These plants float on the surface of the water, such as
Louder.
lilies and duckweed. Second is submerged plant. These plants are usually submerged inside the water, for example, Mandira. And third is emergent plant. These plants are commonly grown inside the water, but are up above the water also. The other part will be above the water. For example, cattails and lilies. Certain plants live on the surface of the water, which hang on the water and absorb the nutrients directly from water, reduce light, reflection, and provide habitat, oxygen and shade for aquatic life, such as water lily, duckweed, and water lily. Floating aquatic plants improve the water quality of irrigation by excess nutrient and filtering pollutants. They reduce algae growth, provide shade, lower water temperature, and create habitat for aquatic life. Next is surface aquatic plant, oxygenation. They do actually they have three main one. First is oxygenation. They release oxygen into the water for the aquatic plants and other animals. The second is filtration cycle. They help to remove excess nutrition from the water and preventing algae erosion. Third is habitat. They provide food and shelter for a wide range of aquatic animals, organisms such as fish, snails, etc. Third is emergent aquatic plants. They do three works. The first one is water filtration. They help to filter water by removing pollutants and excess nutrients. Second one is erosion control. They help to stabilize solution and prevent erosion. Third one is wildlife habitat. They provide shelter for aquatic animals and especially for birds and frogs.
Aquatic plants adaptation. So for aquatic plants, they will again consume some adaptations which helps them to survive in the aquatic ecosystem. They have large surface area. In this sense, the leaves of the aquatic plants are large and flat, which helps them to maximize their exposure to sunlight for photosynthesis. So that is the you have given the macrocults in that particular lake.
Yes.
So you can also add some other like medicinal value or some other commercial value of macrocults also in the slides. So today we are going to give some information about types of soil. So firstly, what is soil? The outermost or top layer of earth is called as soil. The largest percentage of soil consists of weathered inorganic rock materials. The amounts of different sizes and types of rock particles or flakes determines the soil texture. The three main types of rock flakes found in soil are sand, silt, and clay. The hectare of pasture land in a humid mid-latitude climate can contain more than 1 million earthworms and several million insects, which are vital because of their ability to mix and aerate soil, which means nearly 10,000 square kilometers of land, poultry or farming land, contains millions of earthworms and insects, which is very important to mix and aerate soil. Increasing air and water availability to plant roots, which greatly improves plant productivity. And earthworms and insects also produce most of humus found in soil through the incomplete digestion of organic matter. So when earthworms and insects die, they form humus for the topmost layer of the soil. So we have majorly 4 types of soil: sand soil, silt, loam, and clay. Look at this video. So video was.
There's no video, it's just PDF. Video station. Just PDF. Can give them further. It's okay, just continue.
Next, coming to sandy soil. So sandy soil is light, warm, dry, and it is very low in nutrients. And sandy soil, often known as light soil, because it is high proportion in sand and very little clay. The soils have very good drainage and easy to work with. It means it is very porous. And sandy soils have a light brown color. Plants growing in sandy soil have to be able to survive with very little water because it has very water holding capacity. Sandy soil. Next, water passes easily through some soils. Soils with lots of gravels or sand do not retain water very well, which means in all other soils water passes easily, and in sandy soil it contains so much gravel, so the water retainability is very low. Then features of sandy soil. It contains mainly sand particles and very little amount of clay and silt. It lacks humus, which means vegetation. Vegetation is very less in sandy soil. And these particles are large and cannot be packed tightly. These particles have space for air present in them. It is very porous. It cannot have much water holding capacity, and it is not stable.
Coming to silt soil, soil is subject to the site rotating between sand and clay transported by the water, flood during flood. The river creates a fertile deposit on the valley floor. Being non-plastic or having no plasticity because of its width, silt soil allows it to be formed in pods or any desired method.
Silt soil is a type of soil. If we make any shapes, it will form. You might have seen like kids playing in mud and all. They make shapes. So silt soil.
Silt is a granular material of a size between sand and clay and composed mostly of broken grains of quartz. Silt can be mixed with sand or clay and can be suspended in water. Silt lacks plasticity when wet and has a fluid feel when dry. Silt soil are light in agriculture and have uniform structure. Silt soil have very light color, fine grain, and have a high organic matter content. Coming to loam soil. Loam soil is a type of soil that is a mixture of sand, clay, and silt. Loam soil hold high nutrients and have a solution that retains water long enough for plants to grow. Let being drained well means that the water eventually streams away so that the plant grows not in water and water. Without quality soil, plants struggle to survive and usually require supplementation of feeding and water.
Loam soil is mostly used for agriculture.